Chapter 4, Multiply and Divide Fractions, Mid-Chapter Review. So first we're going to multiply. Write your answers in simplest form. So here we have 1/7 times 30. So 1/7 times 30 as a fraction is 30 over 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the numerator times numerator. 1 times 30 is 30. I'm going to multiply the denominator. 7 times 1 is 7. So then I need to find this in simplest form. I can divide 30 divided by 7, which gives me 4.28571 ... So what I do is I'm going to take that whole number 4. That's going to be my whole number. So I'm going to, over here off to the side, I'm going to take 4 times 7, which is 28. And I'm going to subtract that from 30. So 30 minus 28 equals 2. So that's my numerator. My denominator is 7, so I get 4 2/7. Now, if you chose to go the other way and go to my Clever page, you will see that there is a simplifying fractions calculator. You might use it. Come over, put in the new numerator, which is 30, my denominator, which is 7, hit calculate, and it will tell you it's 4 2/7, and that's exactly the same thing as we got over here. So the second one is multiply. Write your answers in simplest form again. So I'm going to take 4, write as a fraction of 4 over 1, times 3/7. I notice that there are no common factors except for 1, so I can multiply across. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 7 is 7. So I can go back to my simplifying calculator. My numerator is 12. My denominator is 7. And I hit calculate. And this will help, and it'll show me that it is 1 5/7. But if I did that, it would be 12/7. If I were to take 12 divided by 7, I would get 1.7142 ... It continues on. So I take that 1, I go 1 times 7, that's my denominator, which is 7. Take that 1, I know that's going to be my 1 whole. Take 12 minus 7, and it's 5. So there's my numerator, here's my denominator, 5/7. Number 3, multiplying 5/6 times 7/10. So I have 5/6 times 7/10. Here's one I can simplify before I multiply. The only common factor that 6 and 7 have is 1. But there is a common factor between 5 and 10. 5 goes into both of those. So if I take 5 divided by 5, I get 1. If I take 10 divided by 5, I get 2. Now I can multiply 1 times 7 to get 7, 6 times 2 to get 12, and there's 7 is a prime number. It only has 2 factors, 1 in itself. This is my final answer. And again, I can go back and I can do 7/12. I can go back and do 7/12, calculate, and it will be 7/12. So you can see that stays the same. All right, example number 4. 4/9 times 15/16. So again, I always write my problems out again. So again, let's simplify before we multiply. I know 4 and 16 have a common factor of 4. So if I divide each, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. But 9 and 15 have a common factor, and it's not 9 either. 3 is a common factor. So if I divide each by 3, 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I multiply 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 is a prime number. The only factor it has is 1 and 5. If you were to multiply that out, 4/9, 15/16, and you simply multiplied, you could get 60 over 144. I would take that fraction and I go to my calculator. I have 60 over 144. And if I hit calculate, I should get 5/12. And that's the same answer that we have over here. Number 5, again, multiplying 7/12 times 2 and 6 and 6/14. So the first thing I have to do, my first fraction is going to stay the same, 7/12. But my second one, 2/62 and 6/14, I need to change to an improper fraction. So improper fraction, I take the whole number times the denominator. 2 times 14 is 28. And then I add that to the numerator. So 2 times 14 is 28. 28 plus 6 would be 34. And my denominator stays the same. Which is 14. So then I bring that over here, 34 over 14. Again, I can multiply straight across and then use my simplifying calculator. If you know how to simplify before you multiply, you know that 7 is a factor of 14. 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 14 twice. 12 and 34 have a common factor as well. That would be 2. So if I divided each by 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 34 divided by 2 is 17. So when I multiply 1 times 17, I get 17. 6 times 2 is 12. So here I have that improper fraction. So I would take that to my simplifying fractions and have 17 over 12. Calculate, and you should get 1 and 5/12. And there's our answer right there. Sorry. 1 and 5/12. Number 6, you have 2 improper fractions that we have to create before we can multiply. So I have 4 times 8, which is 32. 32 plus 3 is 35 eighths. I do the same thing over here. 5 times 9 is 45. plus 4 is 49. My denominator in this fraction is 9. Now again, the only way you can get 49 is 7 times 7 and 1 times 49. The only time you can get 35 is 1 times 35 and 5 times 7. So none of these have a common factor to it. So we're going to multiply across. So I have 35 times 49. So I'm going to use my calculator. 35 times 49, and I get 1715. So 1,715. And 8 times 9 is 72. So this is one where I would really make sure that I use my simplifying fraction calculator. So 1715 is my numerator. 72 is my denominator. So if I hit calculate, this will calculate to 23 and 59 over 72. 23 and 59 over 72. I would use that simplifying calculator if I were you to do these problems. Number 8, a reservoir is 4 and 2/5 miles wide. When he sailed 3/8 of the width of the reservoir, how far did he sail? So we're going to take 4 and 2/5, but I'm going to change that to an improper fraction. So 4 times 5 is 20. I add 20 to 2. 20 plus 2 is 22. And 5 is my denominator. 3/8 is what I'm going to multiply that by. So again, no numbers. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 is a factor of both 22 and 8. So if I divide each by 2, 22 divided by 2 is 11. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So if I multiply, I get 11 times 3, which is 33. 5 times 4, which is 20. And again, I would use my simplifying calculator for 33 twentieths. 33 twentieths. I hit calculate. You should get 1 and 13 twentieths. And there it is. Which equals 1 and 13 twentieths miles. Because that's how far he went. Remember that if you have a story problem like this, you need to have a label. Number 8 says there are 35 muffins in the bakery. If 4/7 of those muffins are blueberry, how many muffins are blueberry? So again, I'm going to change my fraction here, my whole number to a fraction. So 35 as a fraction is 35 over 1. I'm going to multiply that by 4/7. Now I know that 7 is a factor of 35. So if I divide by each by 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So now I can multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 1 is 1. So any number over 1 equals that number, so it's 20. And we have to have a label because it's a story problem, muffins. That's how many of those 35 were blueberry. Number 9 says, how many feet are there in 18 yards? So we want to know how many feet are in 18 yards. So I know that there are, if I look down here, 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 yard is 3 feet. So I have 3 feet in 1 yard 18 is always going to be my numerator because that has yards on it. So my yards cancel out. I multiply 3 times 18, which would be 24. 2 would be 54. 1 times 1 is 1. So 54 over 1 equals 54. And we're looking for how many feet? So 54 feet. Again, I want to make sure I use this chart to help me out on these types of problems. Number 10, how many pounds are there in 120 ounces? So, what do I know? Ounces and pounds. I know 1 pound is 16 ounces. So I have 1 pound, because I'm trying to find pounds, equals 16 ounces. Whatever I want to know has to be my numerator. 128 ounces, that's the second fraction, 128 ounces over 1. My ounces cancel out. I multiply 1 times 128 is 128. 16 times 1 is 16. I go to my simplifying fraction calculator because I have an improper fraction, so 128 over 16. 128 over 16, and I calculate, and that gives me the answer of 8. So there are 8 pounds in 128 ounces. So this problem here has an extra credit question to it. And it says Leon read 5/7 of the pages in his book. He has 28 pages left to read. How many pages has he already read? So you could multiply 5/7 times 28 and do all that work, which we'll do. So I have 5/7